It is time to grab your dose of compassion. Share your story and solve your anxiety and depression. Welcome to Keep Calm in a Crazy World with your host, Jodi Amon.
Hey everyone! Hi, good evening! We have Corinne here. Isn't this exciting? In a minute or so, I'm late, but I'm gonna log into the radio show, and Corinne's gonna call up. I'm gonna turn my sound off on here. Let me do that. Actually, do you want to call up the radio, Corinne?
Yep, I'm doing that right now.
And then I'm gonna turn you off as we're building our. Okay, let's see. I'm gonna call here. It's dialing. Hi everybody. Look at everybody here.
Show now, press 1 to hear important.
Just calling into the radio show. This is a live show.
We are reconnecting you now. Your show will go live in 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1.
It is time to grab your dose of compassion. Share your story and solve your anxiety and depression. Welcome to Keep Calm in a Crazy World with your host, Jodi Amon.
Hey everyone, welcome to Keep Calm in a Crazy World with me, Jodi Amon. I am so excited for tonight. It's going to be a great evening. I'm here every Monday at 6 p.m., 6 to 7:30. And I broadcast these live on Facebook. If you want to come on over, if you're listening on the radio or listening to recording, come on over to my Facebook page, Jodi Amon. And thank you for all the shares. And watch us next time. And you could ask us questions on the radio. You could ask us questions online. If you're a little more shy, you want to type in a question, you could ask it to me. Let me tell you the number. It's 657-383-1870. 657-383-1870. And I'm going to open the lines that you could call me if you'd like to. I have a guest today. You could see her. She's awesome. I'm going to unmute her phone so you all could hear her. And I do it by clicking that. Hello, Corinne.
Hi.
Hi. I'm getting a feedback. I don't know if... Oops. Hold on.
I don't hear you through the radio yet.
Okay, I did something wrong. Oh, you're on this one. Did I hang up on you?
I'm still there.
Oh, good. Okay, good. I hung up on somebody else. There was another caller in. Call me back. I'm sorry. Hello, everybody. Hi, Jeremy. Hi, Martha. Oh, my dear. I think I just don't know what I'm doing.
I hear beeping.
Oh, there you are. Something's wrong with the sound, everyone. I'm so sorry about this. Because I could hear myself coming back through the speakers, and that is not going to be good. I know I'm going to do. Hold on, everyone. Stand by. I'm sorry. Live radio, and this is terrible. There we go. Hello. Can you talk now?
I still hear you through the computer, but not through the radio, through the phone.
Well, can you hear me? Just hear me through the computer, because I think it's taping. If not, I have the Facebook Live, and we'll just delete this part and back up. Oh no! Technical problems always happen. That's what really stresses us out here in the world, isn't it? I do have some callers ready. Wow, they really want you. They really want to know about you and what is going on. So I'm so excited, except for I'm afraid that I'm not going to be able to work it, the phones. But I'm going to try. But first, let's leave them on hold. They could hear. I hope they could hear us.
I think so. I can't hear you through the phone, so I'm not sure if they can or not. But
Oh, can you now? Oh, can you now?
Like you're beeping.
Now can you?
No.
Okay, so this is what happened. I tried back in December to have a guest on the show, and the call-in from Blog Talk Radio did not work. And for a while, I was not getting call-ins to the radio show, like nobody was calling up. And then it started to work again. People started to call up here and there. And then most people do watch me on Facebook and like it on Facebook and listen there. But and so I thought, I'm going to do it again. I'm going to have a guest again because I think it's working now. So I did a couple weeks ago, except for it wasn't a really good screen. And so I'm like, I'm figuring it out. And everybody is a guinea pig. And it's kind of nice to like go from having such bad anxiety to being able to wing stuff and being okay if it's just not all perfect. It's kind of amazing.
We don't have control.
We don't have control. Now, everybody, if you're listening on I have one caller still on the radio, but this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to turn off the radio. Corinne and I are going to have this lovely Facebook Live. I'm going to just grab the sound from it, and I'll put it on the radio later as a recording. Okay, so because I'm just going to end that. I'm going to end the problem.
Taking up the radio?
I think I know that's Helene on there, and so she could come and ask her questions on Facebook. Oops. And so, yeah. All right, everybody. Okay, sorry about all of that. Just ignore it. See, we just go with the flow. Everything is figure-outable. Nothing is that big of a deal. And now we have our time that we could just concentrate and have fun with Corinne here on Facebook.
Yay.
And
Awesome.
yay! Can you all hear? Oh, I don't need this anymore. I'm holding this up like I still need it.
People can ask questions then on Facebook, right? On the
Yeah,
Facebook
people
feed?
can ask questions right on Facebook.
Awesome.
All right, and they do, and everybody does. Everyone's saying hello. We have hi, Corinne from Jeremy. Oops. And hello from Martha. Hello from Helene. Hello from Elise on here. And yeah, so yay. So Corinne, we met a few years ago because we're both students of Course in Miracles, and we're both talking about anxiety. And I was telling everybody, because I, told everyone this is happening tonight, and I said that we really have similar stories, you and I. Hi, Barbara. And so, yeah, why don't you start there? Tell us your story.
I also just have to highlight that in addition to our stories being similar, also our finding our way out of anxiety, that story being similar, Jodi and I also have pet chickens. Super important fact that you must know. So just to really give sort of the quick and dirty version, because I feel like perhaps some of you have heard this before, maybe some of you are totally new to my work, but I was pretty much born on the anxious side. My first psychiatric diagnosis came when I was about 2 years old, maybe. That was my first separation anxiety disorder diagnosis. When I got to college, in between that time, there was always fears and worries about normal childhood things, but also I'd worry and kind of fixate on things to an extreme degree. In college, things got really interesting because that's when I broke down with panic attacks. And as perhaps you've heard, college is a time when mental health issues surface for a lot of people. And when I broke
it's happening younger and younger.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. And when I broke down with panic attacks, they were sort of instigated. Again, I had been anxious. This had sort of been building up for a long time, but it came to a head when I learned that a student who I didn't know at the college that I attended died very suddenly of meningitis, and it just freaked me out. I was like, how can you be okay one night and dead the next morning? And it brought up all my fears about illness, about sickness, about death, about those things just being so scary to me that was when my panic attack started. And it was at that point I got into therapy, of course, and had a lot of great help from my therapist, but my therapist actually couldn't take me further than he had gone himself. So I would always bring up this fear that I had of death and of illness and those more existential issues. And every time I brought that topic up, my counselor would change the subject. And I knew, I'm so grateful and so thankful for my counselor, but I knew that he couldn't take me to a place where he hadn't gone himself.
Yeah.
And at that point in time, my mom had already given me A Course in Miracles, and I actually have the book that she gave me. It's in pieces, so I can show you the cover.
Oh, my dear.
Literally.
You read that a lot.
Yeah, she wrote in the cover, in the inscription in the book, "Dearest Corinne, amazing grace that relieves me of fear, 'tis grace that finds me relieved. How precious did that grace appear on the hour that I first believed." And I get all choked up reading this.
Mommy.
Because it was such a dark time. For
Yeah.
anybody listening, I've never been able to accurately convey what a panic attack feels like to somebody who's never had one. It was the scariest, darkest time in my life. I never thought I'd see the light again. I never thought I'd find my way out. And it was through diving into spirituality, to a spiritual practice, head first, diving in, and really working with these principles that I've seen the light again. I've found my way out, and I now just can't help but share what I've learned, because anxiety is not natural. It's not it's
I love
normal
that you
in a
said
sense
that.
here in this world, but there's more to us than that, and it's
Yeah.
that truth within us that we can reclaim to learn how to let that anxiety fall away.
I'm so glad that you said that it was that darkest time, because you know what? Last week I have this webinar that I'm sharing, because I just felt like I wanted to share a lot of this information, and people are really liking it. But I did have one person write back, and I told about that dark time like you had, because I think everyone who's suffered with anxiety thinks that they're the only one going through that dark time, like you just described, like panic attack. Like, how could you? You can't even imagine. You can't even describe it to somebody else. But there's so many people who understand that feeling. So I think it's getting easier. But they were like, I think my anxiety is worse than yours. I mean, I was like, I couldn't get out of bed. I couldn't get out of bed. I couldn't go anywhere. I couldn't leave my house sometimes. I mean, I couldn't talk. Sometimes I was so in panic. And it's like, you feel like you are different than everybody else. I don't know if you had that feeling. It just reminded me as you were talking, like, all these people on this get it, because they've all been where you are, and they've all, told, thank you. Look, I'm getting thumbs up, and because people are relating, and even a crying face, because that's saying that they're moved, that someone gets it and understands. Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, you are not alone, and your anxiety is not who you are, and you're not alone. If you think that yours is worse than the next person, guess what? You're not alone. And I thought that too. I mean, I didn't know anybody else. When I was in college, I did not know one other soul that was struggling the way that I was. And I'm sure now that I'm speaking out about this, I cannot tell you how many of my friends from high school and from college and just other people that I meet say, Corinne, like I struggle with the exact same thing.
Yeah.
Thank you for talking about this. It is so common. It's so common. And the sad part is that the stigma is there, so we don't talk about it. And anxiety will tell us that we are the only ones that have this thing wrong.
Because it wants to isolate you. That's that keeps it going, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're separate from everybody else, and it keeps you in that believing it. Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yep. Why do you think anxiety is so bad nowadays? What's your...
What was that?
Why do you think anxiety is so bad?
Come
on, tell me.
You want to say, the easy answer on the surface could be like, oh, well, things are just so intense nowadays with politics and with environmental concerns or sickness concerns, but that's always been the case. There's been wars and diseases and outbreaks and craziness in this world from the get-go. I think anxiety is as bad as it is now because, well, number one, this goes down to the way that I see it, and that is that anxiety stems from our belief that we are separate from our source, from love, call it God, whatever word you're comfortable with. I don't care what word we use. Anxiety comes from this belief that we are this separate self, that we are this individual person that is subject to sickness and death and all of these things that the world would teach is true. And I feel like in a sense to me, anxiety seems like it's ramping up because I feel like many of us are starting to wake up and starting to really call out anxiety as an example, the tricks, your book is such a beautiful, beautiful demonstration of this, that we're waking up to the fact that we are much more than these separate selves, and we can't sustain this separation. I feel like we're waking up to that. And so in my experience, when I would start to wake up, anxiety almost seemed like it would start to ramp up, because what it was trying to do was to still keep my perception focused on the separation, to keep my perception focused on my individual self. So in a sense, we can say that anxiety kicking up is actually a good sign that we're actually making progress. We're actually getting to more and more of the core beliefs, of the irrational fears, of the irrational beliefs. And so the anxiety is like a tactic of the ego, we might say. Ego is a Course in Miracles term for this, belief in separation. It's a tactic that the ego might use to try to keep us believing that we're separate from each other, and we don't have to buy it.
So
anymore.
the ego's being more threatened because we are waking up, we're evolving, and we're going to the light. And as we go to the light, the ego kind of panics and puts on the like, no, pay attention to me, pay attention to me, pay attention to me.
Yeah.
And
it's important.
Let me just ask them a question quickly, and I'll let you talk while they're answering, because it takes a while for them to answer.
Sure.
But how do y'all relate to that? Is this a different way to see anxiety than you've been seeing it? And we do have questions. I will get to them. But, is this a different way that you're used to seeing anxiety? And what do you think about what Corinne's saying? Is this that anxiety is worse right now in the world because we're waking up? And what do you think about that way of seeing it? And how does that help you, or how does it reflect on you? All right, go, Corinne. Give him some time to answer.
I can't wait to hear some responses.
I know. Don't be afraid to respond.
Yes, please don't be afraid. I also wanted to say that with what I just said, it seems to give the ego, this idea of separation, some sort of power that we've probably heard the term ego backlash, especially if we've been on the path of studying A Course in Miracles, that, we make some progress and it seems like we have a little ego backlash and we start struggling again. It's so important for us to recognize that the ego is just a false belief that we're choosing to believe in. It has absolutely no power to hurt or to harm us. I like to think about it. If you've ever passed those balloon figures, like if there's a new store opening, they'll put up one of those balloons and they sort of whip around and do this dance. I like thinking of the ego as that nylon shell, and we have a choice if we're going to pump air into it to make it look like this big scary thing, or if we're going to say, "Ooh, no, I'm not doing this anymore," and then we see it for what it is, which is absolutely nothing. So it's important for us to keep in mind to not be afraid of any kind of ego, anything, because it's just an idea. It's just a belief.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, awesome. And for the new person to Course in Miracle, when they're thinking about that, our egos, I don't know, you said something that made me think, but let me just read something somebody said, and then, because I've lost my thought. There's so much going on. I'm reading, I'm listening, and I forgot my... Anxiety is a fear of life. So yes, it does mean we think that the universe is scary. Even if we're not separate, it's still scary because we do create a reality and we create scary things. That's Barbara. Barbara, what do you think? Do you want me to read it again? You got it?
That's beautiful. Barbara, I love how you said, you use the term like a fear of life. If we can think about this, if we can create scary things, we have that same power within us to call forth experiences that teach us that we are way beyond, that the core, that who we are is something way beyond our small physical self. So this is one of the things that I love about A Course in Miracles is that let me back up for a second and just explain some Course terminology. The Course is teaching us that we have two different voices in our mind. We have the voice of our higher mind. The Course calls it Holy Spirit. You can call it your inner guidance system, your inner teacher. Again, it's just semantics. So the voice of our higher mind, and then the voice of the ego. The ego is always professing fear. Mm-hmm. Our higher mind is always remember, is always trying to help us return to the awareness of the love that we are. So we have a choice, whichever teacher we're going to listen to. If we're going to listen to the ego fearful voice, you bet we're going to call forth experiences, or we're going to perceive experiences that seem to justify our choice for listening to that voice. If we choose to listen to that voice of love within our mind, we then call forth experiences that justify and reinforce that choice.
It's amazing.
And that is that's huge. So I love how she said that, yes, we can create these scary things because we're listening to this scary voice. We also have the choice to listen to this voice of love, which is so wanting to teach to us, to show us our magnitude, our greatness, our power, our light, and our love. And I have so many examples.
So that's awesome. So that's how you create your own reality. Mm-hmm. Your beliefs make you see that. Okay, Barbara's asking for an example, and I'm just about to give it now. If you have a story that you are vulnerable, and that's your story, then you're gonna, whatever you experience that day, you're gonna see it, like filter it through that story. So that's what when Corinne is talking about, you'll call forth experiences. You'll notice all the times you're vulnerable during the day. If you primarily perform and live in the story that you are light and invulnerable, right, and you are just love, then you will notice that truth everywhere you look. Like, you'll notice the things to appreciate. You'll notice the kindness of other people. You'll notice, and the other experiences, they might be there, but you won't even, they have nothing to reflect on. They don't have any of that fear to reflect on, and you won't notice them. You just go past them, if that makes sense. You like that?
It makes total sense. I like that a lot.
Thank you for the thumbs up. Please share. Give me thumbs up. Give us hearts and love. And up on the top, I put Corinne's Facebook page, so you could go over there to her, and it's just the same. Whereas Corinne Zupko. Oh, wait, it's fear. Oh, it's fear from anxiety to love is your website.
My Facebook page is facebook.com/czupko.acim. Yay! Okay. I love seeing all the hearts.
Yay, thank you. Yeah. So okay. So I tagged it so they could go there, right?
Awesome. Yeah.
And then and you could go to her website, FromAnxietyToLove.com. I know we're not done yet, but I just want to make sure. Wow, it goes so fast. But you have a book giveaway every month.
I do. So I have a book coming out, From Anxiety to Love, working with your inner therapist to find lasting peace. Your inner therapist.
It's like having me in your ear.
Yeah.
Corinne in
your
your
inner
ear.
therapist being that loving voice in your own mind. And it's all the principles of the Course in Miracles that helped me out of the anxiety that I used to
Oh my God, I cannot wait for this book.
It's coming out in early 2018, and I just had the inspiration, what can I do between now and then to just keep the love going? And I got this inspiration to give away one of my favorite Course in Miracles related books each month until my book comes out. I have not announced this yet, so you're all getting some insider information, but the giveaway, I think I'm going to open it within a few days. I'm going to be giving away, I have 4 sets of the pocket edition of A Course in Miracles. Believe it or not, I don't know if it'll fit in your pocket. It would definitely fit in your purse. But
it is so big.
The one book is the text, and then the other one is the workbook and the manual. So you can just choose which you're going to carry around. And then so 4 lucky winners are gonna get those. So I'm doing these giveaways just to keep the love going. And
that's awesome. That's awesome. One thing that really stood. So this is because I've studied the Course and the teacher's manual and that, and there's this one line that says, "You don't need words to be a teacher of the Course. You don't need words, like because you heal your mind, you're healing everyone else's mind. All our minds are connected." And there is that one line that says, and I'm not quoting it maybe exactly, but you don't need words unless there's fear. It's really interesting to me because in my way of thinking about, hi Lisa, in my way of thinking about anxiety, or in my approach to how I'm helping other people is like, sometimes the fear is so tight and big and huge, and so I help unravel that story, and then we can get rid of the story altogether. Sometimes it's just so strong, and it's hard to I don't know if you relate to that or anything, but sometimes I feel like we need the words to change the story a little bit before we could let go of the story, because we are holding on like this death grip, on this story of fear. And so that's how I interpret it. I don't know if you had any comments about that, or you.
I love that. I think that's so true, because if you think about our minds, I'm sure many of you can relate. Buddhists say that we have monkey minds. Our minds jump from one thing to another to another. It can feel like that hamster wheel where we're just going, those endless thoughts. And if we're tangled up in that, if we're totally lost in our thinking, the words can help. Talking through that can help us get out. I love writing in a journal. Nowadays, I really only use my journal as a tool, and I will write when I'm going through something, when I need to kind of get it out, to get out of that tanglement, to be able to then find my willingness to see that whole situation differently. And that's another key concept in A Course in Miracles, is finding our willingness to see differently, rather than deciding that we know what everything means and that our interpretation is right. Instead, we can be willing to say, hey, maybe I'm wrong, and maybe there's another way to see this, and I'm asking for guidance to see it differently.
Yeah, I love it. That's my favorite part of the Course, too. Is like, you don't have to figure anything out. I think, one of the biggest lies that our ego gives us is that you have to figure this out. You have to make sense of it. You have to know. And we get really caught. Like, the monkey mind spends a lot of time figuring stuff out, trying to make sense of stuff. And that's where I see most of people suffering. And so the Course says, you don't have to know anything. All you have to do is ask. And so that is so freeing, and so yeah, I appreciate that. Let me see. There was a question from Nikki here, and it's kind of off topic, but that's okay. So I want to just get some, because we have 5 minutes left or so. I want to get some questions in, and so ask your questions on here while we're doing this. Everybody, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for all your hearts and thumbs up. Keep them coming. Share, please. You never know who has got anxiety. So many people have it, you don't even know that they have it. Just like Corinne was talking about, and I talk about, you always think you're the only one. Nope. People tell us secrets, and there is more people with anxiety than not. So Nikki asked, a doctor said that depression and anxiety are the same thing. You always speak of anxiety, but rarely about depression. Do you agree that it's the same thing? I see them as different. And it cuts it off. It only gives me 4 lines here, Nikki. I'm sorry. I don't know if you were going to ask something else, but I'll answer what you said. Do I see them as different things? I don't know, Corinne, do you see them as different things?
On one level, we can say all forms of suffering are suffering, and whatever the form it takes, it sucks. But in my experience, I experience anxiety and depression very differently. So I conceptualize them and experience them differently.
Yeah. These are words, okay? And that's that person's opinion, that anxiety and depression are the same thing. That's how they think about these words. So words are dual, right? So they are a metaphor, and people put all kinds of meaning around words, especially words like depression and anxiety. People put all kinds of meanings around these words, and everybody thinks of and feels them in a different way, or describes them, or says this is what depression is, and it might be something totally different than what somebody else says. There is these words especially, there's not necessarily a universal definition. Everyone's got their own definition, so you could think of it any way you want to think of it. If you thought about it through the Course in Miracles, they're both really the ego voice, right? They're both the voice that is trying to get your attention away from knowing that you're just light and love, that you are one with everyone and everything, including God. And so it depends on how you look at it, is the answer to that, and how you want to think about it. Think about it in a helpful way. Whatever way is the most helpful way to think about anxiety and depression, that's how I want you to think about it. Because it doesn't matter. It's just a word. Yeah, awesome. Any other questions here? Because let's see. Okay, so Barbara asked, so A Course in Miracles will help me shift my focus from vulnerability and fear to faith and relaxation. To trust and invulnerability, what would you say?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It'll help you shift to trust and to love and to light. That's what the whole course is about. It's a course in mind training, and it's a course in helping us get out of the fear-based thought system, to choose literally to not listen to it anymore.
Right.
It doesn't mean that it necessarily goes away, because the Course says, the ego's voice always speaks first and loudest, but we get better and better and better at saying, no, thank you. I'm not listening to that. So 100%. It's the reason why I don't have panic attacks anymore, why I now can get on an airplane by myself and be in turbulence and still be completely at peace. I'm not making this up. I cannot tell a lie.
Yay!
I was actually quite surprised by that last time I was on a plane.
Thumbs up for Corinne getting on a plane. Getting on a plane.
So it's a complete thought system shift,
Exactly.
which is what the Course is presenting to us.
You're not vulnerable. Vulnerability at all is a part of the illusion. And so you are shifting your mind into realizing that at the absolute level, you are absolutely invulnerable. And it is freeing in that way. And that helped me a lot because, my anxiety was really focused on my vulnerability. And that makes you feel out of control and blah, blah, blah. And you get out of control. You feel out of control, get anxious. And so I had when I really made peace with, I'm not really vulnerable. Whether I live or die or get someone being mean to me or whatever, I'm still in God's hands. Like nothing changes at the absolute level. And it's incredibly freeing. But it's a training. And okay, so Lee says, I would love to hear your thoughts about the correlation between hormone imbalance and anxiety. Corinne, you want to take that one?
Hormone imbalance and anxiety. So we have to be where we're at. Meaning, if we have a health concern that is perhaps influencing our anxiety and we feel moved to go do something about it, to go to a doctor, we have to be where we're at. What the Course is ultimately teaching is that everything outside of ourselves, everything external to just healing the mind is something outside of ourselves. It's not necessarily a healing that's going to change our fundamental perception of who it is that we are. But we have to be where we're at. So go to the doctor, take medication, do whatever you need to do. I relied on medication for quite some time, but do what you need to do and do it with the awareness of spirit within you. Do it with the awareness of love, truth within you, and ask to, again, as you take medication, I would literally be popping my pills and say, I'm willing to see this differently. I'm willing to release this whenever I'm ready to let it go. So I'd be talking to spirit the whole time. And then the need for certain things fell away when I didn't need them anymore. So we have to be where we're at.
Right, exactly. And the person who downloaded the Course in Miracles, who God spoke through, she still needed a winter coat. There's that story. I know I told you last time we were on a webinar like forever ago, we talked about that, but there's still, could you, I don't know, could you be in the Course in Miracles and not sleep anymore because you're not a body and you don't really need sleep? I don't know. Do you still need a coat in the winter? So that's why it's you everything is included, right? Nothing is not included. And I was teaching the Course one time and people were asking me, you're a herbalist. How can you be a herbalist when you're the Course? And that's witchcraft, or that's, you're not needed. If you have to think you're invulnerable to think you need herbs to heal. And that's still sick thinking or wrong thinking. But if you think about everything's included and all you have to do is ask Holy Spirit, what do I have to do now? And if Holy Spirit's drink some orange juice, do you just drink some orange juice? It's not just, does that make sense? I think that's helpful for me. It's if Jesus says, go and give this person a hug, do they really need a hug? I mean, yeah, that's still on the physical level, right? It's not on the absolute level. They're healed on the absolute level. They wouldn't need a hug, but why would Jesus tell me to go give them a hug? You just listen. Doesn't matter. It's all part of, everything is included. Everything is love. So even your hormones and hormone help or whatever, it's all love. Everything's included. So it's the worry and the stress or whatever about, should I do this? Should I do that? What am I? That's still part of the ego. And if you, like Corinne was saying, you just embrace it. You just be where you're at. And, everything is truth. Everything. So
the best thing we can do is be kind to ourselves and not feel like we're going to beat ourselves up because we think we're doing one thing and we think we should be doing something else. Any form of self, beating myself up is just the voice of the ego making itself stronger. So the best thing I can do is be completely kind to myself, for you all to be completely kind to yourselves, because then you're tapping into that love that's within you.
Exactly. It's awesome. Yeah, exactly. If you're cold, go put a sweater on.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like, don't put a sweater on. That means you have, you're vulnerable. No, just put a sweater on and enjoy your day, Anyway, you have to eat. You're hungry, eat something. It's okay. It doesn't make you too human and not evolved enough or not spiritual enough. Like, see how we could go silly. Like, if you're going to draw a line somewhere, you'd have to draw it everywhere. And so we just have to relax about everything. Okay, last question here, because I know we have to go. Kevin says, will it help me with obsessions and neediness?
I have met so many people who have had such benefits in so many different areas of their lives. Obsessions, false thinking, ruminations. Yes. This is something that can help all of us with anything that we are dealing with, because ultimately it's teaching us to just I say this very loosely, but like obsess on love, like to turn our attention to obsess on something really, really positive as we learn who it is that we are, and all the other stuff just falls away.
Awesome.
So yes, it can help with absolutely anything. And it doesn't mean that we go ditching our other, things that are helping us. It's that we can do this and all of our other self-care things. And again, if we're talking to spirit and asking to see our whole lives, all of it differently, the false is going to fall away when we don't need it anymore. So,
and obsessions and neediness come from guilt and fear.
Mm-hmm.
That's where they come from. You let go of the guilt and fear, they're gone.
Mm-hmm.
We're so afraid of being needy that we feel really guilty and ashamed of being needy, and it's just going to make us more needy because we feel so bad, and so we get more needy. And so the best thing to do is reach out for somebody and reach out and connect with somebody. You feel less needy, but then you're less needy about being needy. You know what I mean? Anyway, so they could find you from anxietytolove.com. That's where you could find Corinne. Now, she does videos. There's tons of videos on YouTube. She's the best. She's got lots of beautiful blogs, really helping. I think with A Course in Miracles, a lot of times it's really nice to have a teacher, either online
helpful.
or books. It's
helpful. It's not an easy read.
It's not a book you pick up and you just read cover to cover and be like, oh, I get it. No, you have to it's like you have to turn your mind inside out. You have to undo all the meanings you've made in your life and see everything in a different way through the eyes of love or through the eyes of spirit. And so it does take some facilitation, some other books on the subject, and even a live facilitator, teacher, tutor or something. It's really, really helpful with the Course in Miracles. But that's why there's so many writers and teachers on it, is because we need them. We love you.
And ultimately, whatever, if you do choose to, tune into somebody who's teaching it, I actually do a Sunday night telephone study group. So anybody can call in. It's totally free. It's every Sunday at 8 o'clock Eastern, and all the calls are archived on my website.
Wow.
Ultimately, this is not about listening to me or to anybody else. This is about you connecting with your inner teacher, your internal teacher, the voice of the Holy Spirit within you, because that's where the healing happens.
Exactly.
It can't happen from me saying anything or somebody else. Anything that I ever say is about you directing your attention to that inner guide within you. So,
well, thank you so much for being here and spending this time and giving your wisdom.
Can I ask you a quick question, Jodi, before we go? I heard you're doing a really cool retreat, and I just wanted to hear a little bit more about it.
Oh, it's going to be really awesome. I'm doing it did you ever hear of 1440 Multiversity?
I haven't.
Okay, so outside in San Jose, California, outside San Francisco, they started this retreat center, and it's all environmentally friendly, and there's yoga retreats, and they have all these teachers coming in to teach weekend retreats or week-long retreats on all these subjects. And so they invited me to come, and they just found me on the internet, and they're like, we need you, we need this topic. There's so many people with anxiety. And so I'm doing this week-long retreat. It starts June 25th, and it's really going to be so, I wish you could do it with me.
I wish I could come. That sounds amazing.
It's going to be so amazing because online I'm really practical and stuff, but like in this retreat, with people one-on-one or in person, like I get more spiritual. I'm more of a spiritual teacher and like heal people on like energetic levels and stuff using the course and all the kind of stuff. And so I'm so excited to be able to do that.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That sounds really super cool.
It sounds like something we need to do in the future together.
I think so.
Totally. Okay, cool. Well, everyone, thank you so much for being here with us tonight. Every Monday at 6 p.m. right here on Facebook. And if you're listening on Blog Talk Radio, right here 6 p.m. I do it live. And 8 o'clock Sunday nights, Corinne does a Course in Miracles teaching for free. Yay! Okay, we love you all, and we will talk to you next Monday. Bye.
Bye, everyone. Mwah.